Oh, how the time flies. What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M Lawson. And can you believe that it has been 1 year since Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions hit your airwaves? We have interviewed authors, entrepreneurs, playwrights, musicians, and everyone in between, all to bring you the best in literary conversation. And we plan to do it again this year, but only better. So join us right here in the Literary Lounge each Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. See you there. Oh, how the time flies. What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M Lawson. And can you believe that it has been 1 year since Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions hit your airwaves? We have interviewed authors, entrepreneurs, playwrights, musicians, and everyone in between, all to bring you the best in literary conversation. And we plan to do it again this year, but only better. So join us right here in the Literary Lounge each Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. See you there.
Happy Merry Mondays. It's your girl, Mary J. I want you to tune in with me to Real Talk with Mary J on New Orleans Talk Network every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Then follow me to blogtalkradio.com/Real Talk with Mary J at 10 p.m. It's going to be a Merry Monday every Monday at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. You've just tuned into New Orleans Talk Network.
Well, what's up, everybody? This boy, Coach Hurricane here. You can follow me on Facebook at Henry Singleton or on Twitter at HenryHayoU15.
Listen, this is your boy, Fred. Listen, you can follow me on Facebook at Brandon Fred Jones, or you can follow me on Twitter at BFredJones.
This is Jeremiah Gray, man, with G Sports. You can follow me on Facebook, Jeremiah Gray, AKG, and on Twitter, G_paid-in-full 08.
Pay me the money! money!
Hey y'all, it's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M Lawson, and I am back. And this is going to be a show for the ages. I am so excited. First of all, we have world-famous actor, Mr. Gary Sturgis, on the show tonight. And not only is he on the show, but he's promoting his book called #Why He Won't Marry You. And he said this is not just your regular book that's telling black women why they're so broken and they can't get a man. There's something totally different about the book. But what I want you guys to do, this is going to be an interactive show. So I want you to post your questions. If you don't want to post your questions, if you want to call, you can call. But we're gonna get this show popping. So if you decide that you want to call in, the phone number is 563-999-1808. That's 563-999-1808. And I'll remind you of that phone number throughout the show. Now, I know I'm jumping in there, but you know I have to at least do a little bit of my build up and talk about what's been going on. And first of all, shouts out to Nike and standing behind Colin Kaepernick. I think it's a beautiful thing. Last year, I did not watch the NFL. I did not. I mean, my family, we're season ticket owners, and I was like, I'm not really dealing with the NFL. This year, I had a bit of a change of heart, not so much because I miss football, because I'm not that big a football fan. I mean, I'm a football fan, but I'm not, like, fanatical about it. But I wanted to support. There are still a lot of African-American young men who are still playing the game. They still have jobs. They're still doing a lot of things for their communities. I was looking at many of the New Orleans Saints who were out in the community doing so much for their communities, and I wanted to be able to support them. So I decided I'm going to start watching football again, not so much because of all the bureaucracy, because there's always going to be bureaucracy, there's always going to be some racism. If I had let racism throw me off, I would not have done 23 years in the Army. And now working my good government job, which, you know, there's going to be some racism probably everywhere you go. So I'm not going to let that run me off from something, but I am going to support the people who are still in it, who are still doing their thing. And shouts out to Terry Bridgewater. We've not had a black quarterback in a long time. Hopefully you get some playing time this year behind Drew Brees. We're going to be looking for you. Now, I will also tell you, pay attention to what's going on in Washington. A lot of people have been talking about this Colin Kaepernick thing, but what they've not been talking about is Kavanaugh. If you see what's going on, if our president gets his way and puts Kavanaugh, and Kavanaugh gets on the Supreme Court, that means that there will be 5 conservative judges against 4 conservative judges. That means that many people are not going to have a chance when they go in front of the Supreme Court. There's not going to be that swing vote anymore. So that means there are going to be a lot more people who may be going away. So you've got to pay attention to that. So while you're paying attention to Nike and Colin Kaepernick, I'm all for it. Make sure you're paying attention to what's going on. We have a major midterm election coming up in November. Don't think that your job was over when you voted for president. We have a lot. Right now we have a president that some people just don't like very much. And if we go ahead and do what we're supposed to do and actually vote in this midterm election, we may be able to control some of the things that are going on in Washington. So I'm saying that now, but I'm going to get off of my soapbox now because I want to bring Mr. Gary Sturgis onto the screen. So we are going to start this conversation and we're going to get it on and popping. Remember, if you want to call in, it's 563-999-1808. Mr. Sturgis, how you doing tonight?
I am awesome. How you guys doing?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. You see, I'm representing my Saints. I heard you say you're not a big football fan, but I'm a fanatic. So, got my fantasy football things going. I got about 7 different leagues. I'm about them Saints. So,
that's what I'm talking about.
Brees, Teddy Bridgewater, Kamara, all you cats, man. Do what y'all do.
That's what I'm talking about. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I love this man, because he is not only a great actor, and he's humble. He's coming on our little old show while we're still growing. We're only in our 2nd year of this show, but he is also an avid Saints fan, and he is a native New Orleanian. Is that correct?
That is correct. Born in the 9th Ward, 1712 Alva Street. The house is currently purple.
What?
I don't know why they did that. Whoever owned that house painted it purple. but a little New Orleans history. When my family moved out of that house maybe 15 years ago or so, RG3, the quarterback that used to be quarterback for Washington,
yes,
his family moved into that house. So he also lived at 1712 Alva with his grandmother. So a lot of, people who growing up came out of 1712 Alva Street off in the hood. So yes, New Orleans born and bred.
Okay, now I'll tell you, we have a little something in common because I'm from the lower 9th Ward.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up.
We were all flooded. Our whole area was.
Yes.
We got all the water.
You're right, though. You're right. Well, we're gonna jump in this. We have some folks already jumping in, and they're ready to hear what you have to say. So I already told you what my first question is going to be. So years ago, I don't remember how many years ago. Let's just say it was 10 years ago. Mr. Steve Harvey came out with this book, and everybody went out and bought this book like it was the Bible for black women looking for a man. Basically, everybody was saying, I need to read that book because I need a man, and Steve Harvey is going to tell me what I'm doing wrong. And then all of a sudden this backlash happened because all these men were saying, Steve Harvey is telling all of our secrets. All he's doing is telling people how to get. How you gonna tell people how to have relationships? And he's been married 3 times. They said all of this stuff. But then after that,
told me you giving up the game. You giving up the game.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Exactly. And now all of a sudden, all of these other men started coming out with these books telling women why they couldn't get a man, why they couldn't keep a man, why they couldn't get married. Men were making YouTube videos talking about black women and why they can't keep a man and why we're so angry. And I talked a little bit about this on the way to the studio on my live. And so that was one of the main questions I wanted to ask you. Why did you write this book?
Well, my angle was a little bit different. I wasn't trying to come from the voice of a person shaking his finger at you, telling you what's wrong with you. My goal was to come from a perspective. I've been married now, come September 9th, this Sunday, it'll be year 6.
Well,
so
happy
I've
anniversary.
been doing this for a minute. So doing this married thing for more than half my life. So
yes.
I just felt like after hearing so many stories, because I've been married so long, a lot of women will inbox me and tell me relationship problems. I literally every other day, somebody's hitting me in my inbox, asking me for my advice because, the people can see on Facebook, I shoot from the hip. So I would just give people honest advice to try to help them keep their relationships. And most of the time, if a person's asking you for advice, it's falling apart.
Yeah.
So you have a bunch of friends that'll sit next to you and say, oh, girl, here's what I would do. Or, oh, girl, I wouldn't take this or I wouldn't take that. That's the negative reinforcement that just like the books you were talking about, where it's all about people living vicariously, your problems vicariously through them.
Yeah.
When I wrote my book, I wanted to write a book that sort of pointed out to women things that they may be doing that may make a guy pause or may make a guy not be as ready as she is when she's ready. And different things you can do to step over that. So it wasn't a book just about bashing somebody, but it was a book about telling you what you might be doing that might be turning them off and what you can do to turn it around.
Right.
So it was never just about saying what your problem is, because we all got those. But it was about showing how some of those problems may affect what you're trying to get in your end game. So my book was always the focus of my book was always on you're trying to get a ring. So let's review what we can do better to go about getting this guy to get on his knee to ask you. Because ultimately that's what women want. You want the guy traditionally to ask you. So you do have some responsibility in that. And that's what my book was about. I wasn't really on a bashing thing. Now, I will admit, those who've seen me advertise the book for the last year prior to me writing it, I do very brash advertising about the book. And definitely,
I've seen that.
advertise it in such a way that I make you want to know what it is. But I can promise you when you read it, it's almost like getting a relief shot. It's like, okay, it wasn't what I thought it was, because that's what I have to do to sell it. But ultimately, I'm really trying to help women to get across that line of all these bad relationships. And if this is the guy, get him to know that you're the girl. And that's really what my book is about.
Okay, now tell me this though. I know you said a lot of people that were inboxing you asking about marriage and what can they do so they can get that ring. Why do you think so many people were coming to you?
I think it's because of my personality online. My online profile is not like a lot of celebrities. A lot of celebrities pay people to represent them, and they have an image. I'm very real. I'm the same dude who grew up in the Ninth Ward, the movies, the TV stuff. That's what I do for a living. My personality is on Facebook. My personality is on Twitter and social media. I'm very brash. I speak of race issues. I speak of biblical issues. I will speak on any issue. So I think over time, people saw how direct I was and how I wasn't Hollywood in the sense that I'm always trying to say the right thing to make people like me. I said what I felt. So because I was the type of person that expressed myself that way all the time, I mean, literally, if you ever been on my page, if somebody came for me, I have cussed people out on social media and don't think twice about it. And then people will inbox me and say, well, you're Gary Sturgis. You shouldn't be doing that. I'm still a fucking person. Don't come at me stupid and think that I'm some movie dude that ain't got feelings. I will tell you about yourself. So I think after a lot of that, people started saying, wait, because the first thing they say to me before they tell me their business is they'll say, well, I'm asking you because you shoot from the hip, because I feel like you'll keep it real with me. And I never go around bashing dudes. You know, if you tell me something your dude did or something you suspect he did or whatever, I'm going to listen to it, but I'm going to always try to give you the guy's perspective. How's he thinking? Because he's not thinking like you thinking. Yeah. So then that's the same thing what my book is about. My book is about showing women that just because you see life one way don't mean he sees life that way.
I think
so
that's
y'all
a
have to
big
get on the
thing.
same page.
Right.
Because I think a lot of times we get stuck on our own thoughts and how we see life.
Right.
But this person may have a different perspective. And part of what makes a relationship work is respecting each other's perspective.
We have to realize that, and I'm guilty of it myself, because I see things a certain way. I have to remember that everybody doesn't think like I do. Do you think that's one of the main reasons that there are people who don't have that ring today, is because we're thinking just because we see it this way, somebody else has to see it that way as well?
And that's one of the things I discuss in the book. And a lot of it, in the very first chapter of this book, it's called Barbie Dolls and Toy Soldiers. In the very first chapter of the book, I talk about why we're in this situation. And you know who's to blame? Parents. This is all our parents' fault. Let me tell you why, because we're making the same mistakes that they made. Little girls are raised under the doctrine of the minute they're born, they're given a toy. That toy is a baby doll. It's a baby just like them. It poops, it pisses. You got to clean it. You got to wipe it. You got to feed it. They're teaching nurturing skills to girls from a very tender age of 2. That doll, as you grow up, become a teenager, that doll becomes, or a 12-year-old, that doll becomes a Barbie doll, which is a little bit sexier, has its own clothes, has a dream house, has a car, has a pin. You know what I'm saying? You're being taught life skills and what to expect from a very early age. Young boys are not being taught these things. We're never told that this girl is waiting for a knight in shining armor. We're too busy fighting. We're too busy playing King of the Hill. We pulling, take out insects. We pulling wings off. We chasing lizards. We're not being told what's expected of us when we grow up. Women have a very clear picture of what their expectations are from childhood.
Yes.
We're never given that. So boys, that's why when young boys meet young girls, they're so goofy and stumble around and not know what to say because we wasn't told what your expectations are. You guys are all very set, and that's across the board racially.
Yes.
All women are raised with the same thing. You know how to be a mother before you're even a teenager. So, but young boys don't know how to be a man or a father before they're a teenager. They figure it out when they get you pregnant. So it's just a lot different. And I think if women could understand that from very young men weren't taught the same doctrines that you were taught, then they'd understand that maybe we should teach our boys the same stories we teach our girls so that our girls will have those knights in shining armor waiting for them.
I guess you're right right about that because young girls we read the bedtime stories and they lived happily ever after. That knight in shining armor who's going to rescue them. And boys aren't. You're right. Boys aren't reading those stories. Boys are reading more of the action stories, the action adventure type things.
We play with G.I. Joes. Even the female G.I. Joe got muscles. You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about it. There's no sexual attraction. You know what I'm saying? We don't know of a Ken in a dream house. We don't have those kind of things being sold to us at a very young age. So when a young girl becomes a young woman, her expectations are these things that she's been basically taught. She knows how to be a mother. She knew that before she was 4. She knows how to take care of things. She knows how to clean up. She knows how to do all these things. All of her toys dictate that. Our toys didn't work that way. Our doctrines didn't work that way. What we were taught wasn't taught that way. So a lot of the problems that we have in the disconnect as adults comes from the fact that we weren't taught the same expectations as children.
Okay, but now let me ask you this. Now that may be true as children, but then as we get older, we start to hear these songs that come on the radio. Like for instance, that one song that says, I don't even remember how it goes, something about I didn't come here to make love, or I didn't come here to hug or cuddle or whatever. I don't remember. Somebody knows the name of the song, but that's basically what the song is saying. The man is saying, I didn't come here to cuddle and all of this. All I came here to do is what he came to do. Right. And then you have people who will say that a person is thirsty if they show their real feelings. Thirsty has become a really bad word these days. So now people don't want to show their true feelings because if they show their true feelings, then they may get taken advantage of. They may be considered to be thirsty. And then you hear all of these images going on in your mind. And so now it kind of confuses things when you're actually in a relationship with somebody or you're pursuing a relationship with somebody. Do you think that may happen?
That affects guys too, though. That affects guys too because we're a victim of the Me Too movement. You know what I'm saying? We scared to flirt these days. You know what I'm saying? You can't even say, "Girl, your dress look nice." Sexual harassment. You know what I'm saying? It has gotten to a point where guys ain't even comfortable flirting no more because it's always a problem. It's always misconstrued. We can't read the signals as well as we used to. So I think it affects people both ways in the modern society that we live in. That's another thing I talk about in the book. A lot of these guys who wrote books like this, we're talking about relationships like in Steve's case. I love Steve's, my frat brother, great book. But you're talking about the words like courting. Nobody's courting in 2018. I wanted to write a book that addressed the time that we're in now, not what it used to be, not how it should be, but how it is.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We could talk about how it should be all day. That was back when one dude could work a job and one income could take care of a family. It's a different time now. Women have to work now. That changes a lot of things. When you have to step up and become independent, that changes how your need system of what a man is to you. Back in the days, a man was there for financial support. Now, you don't necessarily need a man for that. He's more just the need. You know what I'm saying? In some cases. So it's a different time. So I wanted to write a book that focused on 2018 and where we are right now in society, because what you're talking about makes sense. We're talking about social media. We're talking about, with the speed of social media, and information can get out in seconds and everybody can have an opinion about it. What we have to do in a relationship sense is shut out the opinions. One of the things I talk about in my book that women probably won't like, but it's the truth. You got some bitter ass friends. Keep your friends out your business.
You don't tell everybody when you're having problems.
Them heifers ain't never gonna have no man, and all they gonna do is take their bad relationships out on what could be a good relationship for you. It's unrealistic to believe that in a long-term relationship that you're going to get along like a fairy tale every day. If you truly love somebody, you're going to argue. You're going to fall out. You're going to have problems. It's realistic. It's believable. So the minute it happens, don't run. Work on it. This is what the challenge of being in a relationship is. Everybody wants it easy. Listen to the vows. It says, for better or worse, in sickness and in health. There's a negative to every positive that's said in this shit, but everybody just want to hear the positives. Hey, I heard Needy Leak say, in riches, for richer or richer. I'm not signing on this contract because it says for richer for poor in the book. So I'm not going to sign on richer because if I fall off financially, my relationship ain't shit. Nobody wants to be in a relationship that's just built upon finance, male or female.
But you're right about that, though. But here's the thing, and we have about a minute and a half before we have to go to a break. But you just said something, though. What you're saying is that, first of all, yeah, richer or richer. People want to be financially secure. People are not really building the way they used to build. Okay, you know what? We both may not have as much. Let's work together. Right now, we want the person to be ready-made. They have to already be rich. They have to already have it together.
But think about it. While we're wanting that, when we look in the mirror, do we have that together? No. The people who request these things, I tell women all the time, write down the top 5 things that you want in a man, the perfect man for you. And then after you write them down, walk to the mirror, look in the mirror and ask yourself, what about you deserve such a man?
Ooh. Okay, come on now. You about to make some people mad up in here. And I'm not even talking about me.
but that depends on how you view you. See, everybody has a high regard for themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you want something that, just like some relationships are out of reach, everybody's not for everybody. You want a guy that's got ripped abs, a good job, and a bunch of free time. He don't exist. You know what I'm saying? He just don't exist. There's nobody that looks like that, that's got money, that's got free time. If you're making money, you don't have free time. Then if you got too much free time, you need to get a job. So you are never gonna find those exact qualities that you're looking for. And when, like I said, y'all can take it how you want. After you write these 5 golden qualities, find your 5 that match it.
Okay,
Most
now
can't.
On that note, we have to take a break, and when we get back, there are already some questions in the chat box. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and ask some of these questions.
Please
because
do.
it's about to be popping up in here.
Yes.
All right, so you guys stay right there. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe on the YouTube channel because we do this every week, and we have even bigger shows coming up next week. So you just continue to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's make this show on and popping. We'll be right back.
Oh yeah, we live there. We in here. New Orleans, baby. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
What it do, y'all? It's DJ Slick Daddy from the Live Line, here to tell you about the hottest bar on the West Bank, After Dark Sports Bar, 419 LaPelka Boulevard in Gretna. Come check us out on Monday for steak and oyster night. Thursday, free seafood night. Friday, 3-for-1 happy hour. Saturdays, ladies night, and always open for parties. And then Sunday, Saint Sunday, oldie but goodie Sunday. Come find out what is hidden for at After Dark Sports Bar, 419 LaPelka Boulevard in Gretna. Doors open at 6, 12 p.m. on Sundays. After Dark is a non-smoking atmosphere.
Hey yo, what's up? It's your boy DJ Slick Daddy.
This DJ Slick 514.
And of course, I'm your girl, Black Coco.
Tune into the Live Line, New Orleans Talk Network, every Tuesday, 7 to 8:30 with all the trending topics.
And you can also check out my mix, DJ Slick Mix Pro 1 and 2.
And of course, check out Coco's Sex Tips of the Week.
And hashtag TTBF. That's that bullshit. It's the Live Line, New Orleans Talk Network, Tuesday, 7 to 8:30. We're always live. Let's go.
Hey, we're back, and we have been just lighting it up this first half hour, and we already have some questions coming in. So this is first question. We are talking, first of all, to Mr. Gary Anthony Sturgis. You may have seen him in a number of different TV shows. I think most people know him from Daddy's Little Girls. He was that real mean man that wouldn't let this man spend time with his kids. That's what that was. I think that's why he wrote this book. He had to make up for being that mean man on that movie. But I do have a question for you from Al Owens. He says, what do you say to men and women who won't move on from an ex because the ex is a friend of the family?
Ooh, that's a tough one there. If you're trying to, I've been in these situations. If you read the book, I speak of 2 infidelities that I had in my own marriage. So I'm not sitting up here trying to act like I've been perfect in 26 years. But when you reach these adverse moments, whether you like it or not, if you're going to get things back on track, you got to kind of cut things off cold turkey.
Yes.
Whether it's friend of the family, whatever. If you two were to move on, I don't know if it's you, the guy, or you, the girl, but if you two were to move on in a positive way, whoever that.
He froze on us right when we were getting to the good part. He'll be back in a second, y'all.
That friend of the family, so for that person is that other person has got to distance it. And I get it because I was close friends with the women that I didn't want to have to get rid of in my life. But it's just a sacrifice you got to make after a line is crossed. So, whether people like to hear it or not, that's the truth, because you want that person to learn to trust you again. And it's not easy, especially for women. Once trust is broken with a woman, it takes years, bro. Sometimes you just want to say, fuck it, and say, I just quit, But because it takes years, so you can't just keep that person around and expect things to smoothly work out, because I don't know how much of a line was crossed there, but clearly if you made a question about it, enough of a line was crossed to where one of you can't move forward as long as it exists. So it's really up to that other person to decide, hey, this is more important to me. This relationship is more important to me. Hey, I had to bite that bullet a couple of times. And now, those people have moved on with their lives and they're in other relationships. And, you move on from it. It's like a death in the family. You get over it at some point.
Okay. Now Christine Penner, she has been going off in the comments. So
going off, girl.
She is going off.
That's
so
my
she
favorite
said,
game. What you got?
She said you have to have boundaries in the relationship. The way you start a relationship is the way it will end. And then she said it does not take a man long to figure out if he wants you. That's BS.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Okay.
Now let's discuss.
Okay.
Remember we said early in the conversation, there's how women think and there's how men think, right? She just proved my point. That's how she thinks, because it doesn't take her long to decide what she wants. That's not fair to say that it doesn't take a man long to decide what he wants. Let me give you a literal example that most of you can understand. When you first get in a relationship, while he doing all that spending and dating and courting and stuff, he's trying to hit. Y'all are saying, oh, I'm not ready yet. It's too soon. Be a little patient. You're rushing me. It's pressure. That's the same way a man feels when she comes to the term of saying, I think he's the one, and now he needs to think it because I think it when I think it. And see, I talk about this in my book too. The problem with women is when you get to that point, you put pressure on him to be at the same point. But you have to remember how you felt when he was trying to get in your pants and you was doing the whole wait, and how aggravated you felt.
Yeah.
That's just how he feels when you decide that you're ready and you tell him, well, you should know what you want. Maybe you ain't showed me yet. And I know women don't want to hear that. But if you'd have showed him, he would know what he wants. Right now, he still don't know. Just because you've come to the point that you're ready, that's just like when he came to the point he was ready to screw. You wasn't ready. Did you like the pressure? No. So don't apply it. Let me tell you, the best way to get a man to see it the way you see it is just to show him that you're the one. Don't say it. Don't keep complaining about it. Show him. That's what my wife did. What made me marry the woman I married wasn't because she was, at the time, the best choice. I was popular as hell in college. I had tons of women around me. I was a Q. I was stomping in Greek show. I ain't lying. Anybody was down there in the 80s know it. I was a drum major in high school. I was popular in New Orleans. But what made her stand out from everybody else was she was willing to do what nobody else was willing to do. Everybody else was infatuated with me. She actually cared about me. So just like Survivor, she outlasted, outplayed everybody because in time, women that were messing with me noticed she wasn't going nowhere. So they got the hell away from me. At the end of the day, you make yourself that person. Don't expect him to see you as that person just because you're ready. He's not. The best way to make him ready is to show him why you're the best option. One of the things I talk about in my book is competing. Women have this belief system that I am the shit, he is the smell. I don't have to compete. You know what I'm saying? Look at me. I woke up like this. You know what I'm saying? There's this mentality that I don't have to compete. Or I promise you, you do. Statistically, there's about 20 to 22 women per walking, swinging, dingling around here because most men in jail are gay. So we have the numbers. We can literally have 22 women apiece for every woman to be happy. So no matter how much you put a prize on the P, we understand that the rarity is the D. And whether we say it or not, we all know it. This is why we feel so free to hunt the way we hunt. Because it's just like being a bull in a lot full of cows. If you go see a bunch of cows at a farm, there's only one bull. There's not 20 bulls walking around. And not one cow is complaining when he's doing his business with the other cow. Now, that's not to equate people with cows, but it just shows you the way males see things is a lot different. Because when a man gets on his knee and says, I want to marry you, he's basically saying, I'm taking my spear and I'm going to stick it in the ground and stop hunting for the rest of my life. Think about that. For the rest of my life, I can't do what's innately right for me, which is to hunt. I'm a natural hunter. I'm going to stop hunting because I found you. So you have to be the end all be all of steak. You know, it's like eating the same meal 3 times a day. Now I love filet mignon, but I don't want it for breakfast, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week for the rest of my life. You'll get sick of anything. So you have to keep reinventing this wheel. This wheel called long time, because what's hot today might not be hot 10 years from now.
Okay, now we're going to hold you right there. We're going to hold you right there because we do have a caller on the line.
Come on through.
All right, come on, Renee, what you got?
Hello, how you doing, Mr. Gary?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, from fellow Ninth War soldier. Ma'am, that's my sister, Dr. Lawson.
What you got?
But anyway, so I'm sitting in my bed looking at this, and I'm like, I need to be right next to him, you know, because I've been saying this to women, well, the women in my circle, for years. Now, I've been with my husband 20 years, and most of the time, when we go out, I'm the only female with him and all of his boys because they don't want to bring their girlfriends out with them because women act like women. And I'm not a woman basher, but being a tomboy, I have, most of my friends are male, so I get their perspective. Okay, so my thing is this: women don't know how to start a relationship, in a relationship, and then when they get in another relationship, leave that past relationship in the past. Okay, right. They bring their baggage to the next relationship, and they waiting for that new man to do the same thing the old man did. And I'm like, you are damaging the relationship before you even get in the relationship good. Right. And I was agreeing with you also with you say people don't court anymore. I've been saying that for years. They all want to put handcuffs on each other without even knowing if that's the one they want to be with.
Right, right.
See, Renee should have written this book with you.
The biological clock. You know, women have this biological clock, and men don't have that. You know what I'm saying? We don't have time periods by which we must get married, time periods by which we must have a baby. We don't have that. So I've run into women in my lifetime that'll be like, you know, I meet you at a certain age, you know, we've been dating for like 2-3 months, and all of a sudden they start talking about babies. That runs dudes off. Because that's your desire. Yeah. That ain't his. He just met you. You already talking marriage. You already talking bad. I was just watching a reality show. Brooke Valentine, like, you know, brought a dude to his own surprise wedding. What's up, ladies? You gotta let him. I mean, don't you want him to want you? Don't you want him to say this to you? Don't you want him to take a knee? So why would you force a guy to marry you? It'll never work. You gotta let him come, just like you had to come to the day where you said, tonight's the night I'm gonna give him some. You have to let him come to the time of saying, today's the day I'm gonna take my knee. And you can't say like that woman just said, well, a man should know when he's ready. Well, maybe he just ain't ready. Just because you are don't mean he is.
Exactly.
Give him a little while. Maybe he will be. But see, women do this other thing that I talk about in the book that they don't want to hear. They give grown-ass men ultimatums. Well, if you don't do this by this time, I'm gone. You know what that tells them? Let me tell you what a man hears. Because like we talk about, we hear different things. What we hear when we hear that is every time she don't get what she wants, she going to say she going to leave.
Yeah.
So I don't need that. So I don't need that. So this is what it's going to be. Every time I don't bend down to her knees, she's going to ultimatum me. And basically like, I'm going to take this away and go. Do you know how much vagina there is walking around the earth? I mean, you can take that thing and go in, girl, unless it's cut sideways or triangular, they're all the same. So you can take that one and the attitude that comes with it and go. That's how men feel. Men feel like the minute you start being bitchy, the minute you start being complaining, men don't want that. The sister that's on the phone will tell you that. If she hangs around guys, she know guys ain't nothing like girls hanging out. We don't talk about each other. We don't sit up and talk about who wearing what. We don't argue. You can put 20 dudes in the room that don't know each other. Mention something about sports. Or you like,
and it's like all
Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. It's like they all know each other and they all friends.
We just different, right? We buddy up real fast. I met a guy while I was sitting in the car. Dude knew me. He said, dude, ain't you the dude from the movie? We start talking. I see he got on some Dallas Cowboys shorts. We had a 20-minute conversation about football. That's how guys are. We're not emotional all the time. We're not into the arguing all the time. That only happens when we feel pressured. So if you're having problems with your dude with a lot of arguments, probably because you're pressuring him because you feel, I'm ready, or we're not one. You're not one yet. Stop rushing it. And don't put ultimatums on it. Because I know for a fact if a woman gave me an ultimatum, she can go. Because I'm not going to start that in my life. Like I say, how you start is how you finish.
Okay, now, I'll ask you this. This is something I discussed on my live on the way here. I asked a question, are strong black women, and this was actually pointed toward black women, but are strong black women so strong that they're actually strong to their own detriment? Oh, Renee, are you still on the phone, baby? I think she hung up.
Okay. That's a delicate one. Let me tread these waters lightly because I want to make it clear that I don't talk about race in my book at all. Right. I don't point out black women or white women. I just want to make that clear to your viewer. I don't really mention race in the book, but it's a poignant question about race. If we're going to talk about the topic, which, though I don't cover in the book, I'll do it here. Black women are a little bit different when it comes to how they handle their emotional baggage. There's a lot of anger sometimes, and I think it translates to your children in ways that you don't even understand. Like my kids, when they were coming up, they would date because we live out there in California, they date like Latino girls a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of Spanish people here. And every now and then they do the black girl, and I'm always like, I never know, I never know black girls. What's going on? And it was what my kids said to me. I put on Facebook one time, and people got offended by it. But I'm gonna be real because you need to hear it. They said to me, I don't like being around black girls because they always bitching and cussing and loud and being belligerent. Now, when I posted this, all these sisters getting mad at me, but this is your daughters. What you get mad at me for? I'm not out there with my son meeting these people. They just met the few black people that they met. Their attitude about them was in comparison to other women going and less rah, 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 rah. This type of stuff. Men don't like it. And my young kids who was never told they couldn't date outside their race or push the date inside their race, this was their own choices based upon the people they were meeting. So this is once again goes back to parenting. When our kids see us doing all this rah-rah crap, they take this out into their lives and they become unattractive to young black men. Now, to me personally, I understand the pain, but the translation of the pain comes off so angry that it makes guys just not want to be around it.
But I'm going to ask you this though, is angry black woman and strong black woman, those aren't always one and the same.
Well, I agree with that, but ask an angry black woman that calls herself strong. You know what I'm saying? Strength does not necessarily mean I can beat you or talk down to you or be louder to you or to me comes from a deeper place. I think a lot of strength is confused with anger because I have women say, you know, you just can't handle a strong black woman. No, I can't handle a mouthy black woman. There's a difference. You know, you call it strong. I call it annoying. You know what I'm saying? Strong to me is you out here making some shit happen. Strong ain't, I can stand up toe to toe with a man. Don't no man want that. That's getting to date a man.
And that is actually something that I mentioned in the live, is that sometimes being strong knows when to just go ahead and step back, let the man be the man, because that doesn't take away from your power.
Your strength. And I think, and you said that very well. Ladies, hear what she just said. It doesn't take your strength to relinquish a little bit of the power. You know what I'm saying? Especially independent women, because when you're independent, you're used to doing it yourself. You're taking care of your kids yourself. You're making it happen yourself. So there's a different mindset that comes with that type of woman. But when that type of woman wants to get with a man, she still has to be able to know when to step forward and when to step back, like a nice waltz or a dance. And I think a lot of times in these independent women, especially ones that came out of bad relationships, that's carrying that baggage into the next relationship, they struggle with that. And I think that runs guys off as well. You know, you got to kind of let some of that go and know when to step down. A guy's not mad about an outspoken woman. Let's not get it confused. I like a woman that speaks her mind. Your mind, you still have to be a lady. And I think that's where the line sort of gets crossed, that women sort of feel like I got to loud up and buck up against the guy because I'm not being heard. Trust me, he hears you. I promise you, ladies, every guy that you've ever dated, he hears you. He will hear you a lot better if you read my book, because my book tells you when to talk to him. See, the problem with y'all is y'all picked the wrong damn time. I just got home. I done been in traffic for the last 2 hours working all day. I don't want to hear that shit. So at the end of the day, you got to know when to get your point across. And that's another thing I talk about a lot in the book is how to make those things that's not working work, because it's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it. So my thing is, if you just redirect it, the whole book is about keeping to your objective. You will hear me say it over and over and over in the book. It's about keeping to your objective. If your objective is to get married, then you don't want to do anything that's going to make him not want to marry you. That goes with the attitude stuff. That goes with the way you handle arguments. That goes with the way you snoop through his things. That goes with a lot of things. So if you want somebody to marry you, the goal is to show him why you should be the person he chooses, not why you should not.
Okay, so you just like stepped on a few feet right there.
I know they'll be okay. They'll be all right. That's part of the process. That's Ayanna Van Sant. It's part of the process. You know?
But I do like what you said, though, is I think that when we're trying to get a point across, and I mean, I've been guilty of it too, and I've been guilty of it in my own relationship sometimes. I feel like, okay, I've said this 3, 4, 5 times. Why do I have to keep saying the same thing over and over again? And from what you're saying is, I don't need to say it over and over again. He heard me. Uh-oh. You can't freeze up on this
mama
part.
used to tell me to ignore it, but when she saw me as a man, she would say, "Oh, you did that. Oh, you did that just like I told you when you was a kid. So you did listen to me." Men are always listening to you. They just don't want to show it right away, because then it looks like, she getting the best of me. It's a guy thing. Don't think he don't hear you. But when you steadily browbeating it, trust me, he heard you the first 19 times. It's just, so change how you ask. Like in the book, one of the things I talk about is you got to play into a man's mentality sometimes. You know, why don't you wait till after he ate? Wait till after he took a bath, watch one of his favorite shows, and he just about to go to sleep after you done gave him some. Oh, perfect. So you want something out of dude? Feed him and give him some. Say, y'all don't want it. It benefits both parties because you're both having sex. It benefits you because you don't have to argue about him taking that trash out in the morning. And it gets you your objective. At the end of the day, it's a win-win situation. You got to kill men with love, man. Against a guy like a guy, he's going to be the one with the chest out, beating on his chest. Let him do that. You're supposed to be the damsel. So win him over in the ways that men respond. Men don't respond to but he do respond to food. He respond to sex. You know what I'm saying? He respond really well to sex. I'm saying you can sit there after you had sex with your dude. You can literally ask him for his wallet. He will. All right, just go and take it, because it. About none of that. He ain't thinking about the games you was running to get him to do what you want him to do. You got to appeal sometimes to his likes and his needs. I talk about in the book, the power of the P. You know, you girls got a powerful thing you're walking around with there, but you got to use it to your advantage. That's what the whole book is about. How to use all your traits to your advantage. Right now, a lot of y'all are using them wrong, and that's not why you're not getting results. I hear women say all the time, well, we were together for like 7 years, and he leaves me, and he's with this girl, and they get married in like 2. What is the deal? I did everything. No, you did not. You did everything you thought he wanted. Did you ask him what he wanted? Did you ever take a minute to say, what do you like? What are you into? What do you need? See, that's what the woman that's gonna win is the one that get off her pedestal and find out what he into. Because at the end of the day, if you keep him interested in the shit he into, he ain't going nowhere.
Yes.
That's why the lady that just called, her and her man have such a good relationship, because she's into what he's into. He hang out with the boys, they watching ball. She must like ball too. So a girl that likes ball don't offend the guys. Come on in.
Yep.
The TV in the middle of the fourth quarter, like, we need to talk. Boo! Right now we don't. You are picking the wrong damn time to stand in front of the television. That's the chick nobody wants. You know what I'm saying? Stop being that girl. Be the girl with the jersey on. That's in there with the, you want to know what the dude's doing? Do what she doing. See, she's smart. She's like, I'm gonna be with my man because, you know, I'm gonna get off in the things he into. Start thinking like that way. You ain't got to worry about him leaving on Sunday. See, my girl plays fantasy football with me, so I'll be home playing football on Sunday. She into football too. She a Saints fan too. So sometimes that.
So there's no
matters.
division in the household.
You got to get into what the man into.
Mm-hmm.
You want him to be into what you into. Do the same. Gossip for your girlfriends. That's what they're there for. Your neighbor say, "Oh, this would happen at the job today." He don't care. He don't care. Did you get the check? He don't really care who said what at the water cooler. That's what your girlfriends are for. Leave the gossip about your relationships. Guys don't like that either.
Hey, you just really go off in this book. How long is this book?
We wrote here, I am looking at, I believe, 30 chapter-wise. We got 34 wonderful chapters in my book. Hashtag why he won't marry you. I promise you, ladies, this is the book you need. You read this, you'll be sitting up there with a whole new perspective on how to deal with your man, how to make it work. And in it, I was so candid in talking about my own life because I want to show how competing is still a thing. Even when you're married, you're always competing because I don't care if you signed a contract or not. Every time you walk out into the world, there's somebody out there that's attractive to you. Just because you don't say nothing, we've all taken a second glance. We've all stared a little long at the light, even though you know you're in a relationship. It's just looking, right? But that thought is in the back of your mind because there's always options on both sides of the fence. So a lot of this book is about how women can use these same characteristics to take your man, just like you could use these same characteristics to keep your man. It happened on both sides of the fence with me, and I was very honest about it. So I'm not trying to profess to be the most perfect guy in the world when it comes to relationships. I'm flawed. But that's what men are. So I'm going to show you how through my flaws, I was able to not only salvage my relationship, but I'm going on 26 come Sunday.
And happy anniversary once again. That's a beautiful thing.
6 years prior to that, so that would be like 32 years total. So yeah, it's like, yeah, she's been around a while. You know?
And so what that means, my guess is she's from New Orleans too.
No, actually, she's from Cali, but her mom and dad split up, and her mom moved to New Orleans. So that's how she got there. So I met her in New Orleans in college. But we stayed, funny story, we stayed about 7 or 8 blocks from each other as teenagers. But I didn't know her because where I got on the bus to go to high school at Galvez, she stayed 2 blocks past there, and I ain't go past there because 4 blocks past there was the Florida Project, and I just wasn't going down there.
Yeah,
so
we don't mess with that one.
From the Florida Project, I just wasn't going down there. So I'm gonna catch my bus to John Mack, and so I never actually went those extra 2 blocks. But I knew a lot of her childhood friends, and we were all friends, but I nenever knew her till I got to college. So it was kind of funny when I found out she had lived in the neighborhood the whole while, and I never knew her.
That's awesome. Well, now I'll tell you, we have 5 minutes. We have maybe about 7 minutes left on the show. So if you still want to call in and ask actor Gary Anthony Sturgis a question, all you have to do is call 563-999-1808, or you can just comment on the chat because the chat is still going off. People are telling you preach. They're saying real experience. That's true. So, yeah, if there were actually a studio audience, you see a lot of this.
Yeah, my female and gay friends, you know. You know, relationships are the same all the way across the board. Even with gay people, I got gay friends that read my book, lesbians that read my book. because ultimately it's about relationships and how to get that other person to give you that what you want. There's a couple of things in the book that when you read it, you might say, you might want to throw the book at the wall or whatever. But I promise you, I'm so encouraging when it comes to self-assessment, because a lot of it is that. People don't want to hear it, but sometimes you got to assess yourself. Women that say, well, I dated, 5 different dudes and they all were abusive to me. But what was the common denominator?
Yeah. And that's something that people don't want to actually admit.
Nobody, right? But once you can own these things, you can move on to get better relationships. Mm-hmm. You're attracting a crappy guy. You know what I'm saying? You're attracting a crappy guy. You can't keep blaming the guys. It's what you're allowing into your life. Women can say no. No means no. You don't have to date this guy. You chose to date this guy. You didn't see the signs of the crazy and deranged? Or you saw him and just wanted to ignore him, and then when they got too bad, suddenly it's like, why does this keep happening to me? Because you're attracting the wrong kind of person. So a lot of the book, too, is about self-assessment and knowing how to put out the right energy, or to make sure that the energy you think you're translating is landing and being received the way you're translating. Because I think that's another problem. Women think, well, I'm presenting myself this way. It might not be the perception you think you're putting out. And that's another thing I talk about in the book, too, because a lot of women feel like, well, I put out this perception, but I'm getting this response. Well, clearly, your perception of what you think you're putting out is not always translating to him. So that's another thing I talk about in the book. So, ladies, get the book. I promise you. Guys, this is a book. Guys even buy this book. So, guys, y'all know because y'all done read it. It helps. No, I don't have a bunch of guys coming at me saying, you're giving up the game. The guys that have actually read my book have said, dude, that's pretty cool, because you're speaking for how a lot of us feel about certain situations that make us sort of pull back. Behavioral traits and things that make us sort of pull back. So we're kind of glad you're saying it. Go with the emotions on telling you things, so they just kind of fall off to the side. You don't know why. It's because we're not equipped like you to talk about things. We're not as comfortable. We were told talking and being emotional is soft. You can't be soft. So a lot of that's our upbringing. So trust me, guys are emotional too, but when they show it, y'all call us a bitch. So that's why we don't do it. You know what I'm saying? We don't do it. We say no.
We have a few minutes left, so I do want to just kind of change gears. I have a daughter who is an actress. She just started going to Clark Atlanta University, and she's studying theater. And I saw the moment when she decided that acting was the path that she wanted to go down. And earlier today, one of my clients, Dr. Erin Wheeler, who's actually watching now, she's an educator, and she was talking on a radio show. And one of the conversations during the interview was that many times we're pushing our kids to do doctor, lawyer, things like that. And sometimes we forget about the arts and the humanities. So my question to you is, when did you decide that acting was your goal?
It was in high school. I played music in the bands in New Orleans, drum major in high school, drum major in junior high school. So I was always sort of in the arts. But going into a grown career, I wasn't going to be in marching bands all my life. So I decided I wanted to go into acting because I happened to see black people on TV. I want to do that. And she said, they pay for that. I'm like, no shit, because I'd have done it for free. You know what I'm saying? And then when I realized it was a career, that's what made me sort of pursue it. I started doing theater over at Ethiopian Project Theater right out of high school. Patricia Hill. Anthony Bean put me on over there, and my acting career started. And my mom and dad, I'm going to tell you this, parents, no matter what it is your kid wants to do, and I appreciate that you want them to be all the traditional things from back when we were slaves, the good jobs from back when we came out of slavery. But there's a lot of things in technical fields and science and entertainment that we can do as black people now. And you should encourage your children to be the best of whatever it is they want to be. I tell my son all the time, he hasn't decided what he wants to do with his life. I say, well, whatever it is, you be the best at it. I don't give a damn if you're a garbage man. You be the best damn garbage slinger there is on earth, my friend. It's about being employable and good at what you do. You don't have to be a movie star because your dad's a movie star. You don't have to be a cop or a lawyer because your dad was a cop or a lawyer. Follow your own path and your own dreams. And parents, encourage your kids. My mom and dad never told me what I couldn't do.
Yes.
Could do, and that's why I'm building businesses. That's why I got a restaurant, Craybays. I got a health and rehabilitation center, all because my mom told me I could be and do anything I wanted. So encourage your kids.
It's beautiful, and that's absolutely correct. I mean, when they're serious about something, and this is the path, I don't think we should be trying to take them off of that to try to put them into what we think is a proper job or a good paying job. Everything's, I guess nothing is a good paying job until you get good at it,
Yeah, you see, the thing is, they have to do that job. So they got to be happy when they get up in the morning to go do whatever it is that they have to do to make their money. And let's be real, these kids in 2018 have way more opportunities than we did coming up as children. So, as opportunities expand with social media and all of these newfound, opportunities, kids to get involved in that kind of stuff. And not say, well, hey, that's impossible because it was impossible for us. My dad never thought he'd see a black president from growing up in the 40s and 50s. But we all got to see that. So as time progresses, it just shows there's more and more opportunities. I remember when I was a kid, they said, what you gonna be when you grow up? If a black kid say the president, every other black kid in the class would bust out laughing. You know what I'm saying? This was back in the 70s in New Orleans when it was all black schools. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be president. It's like, president of what? You know what I'm saying? So we have chances now. So we got to get out of the mentality of you got to be one of the traditional 4 things: a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, a policeman. There's so many things you could do, young people. Get out there and find yourself. Find what your thing is, and parents, encourage your kids to be the best at it. Support them, because you have no idea how much your support matters. I got active friends to this day who are struggling in this career because they have families that say you're never going to make it. You're never going to make it. You're never going to make it. It's already hard enough, guys. We don't need the people who love us the most down in us as we're trying to be something.
Yes.
Let them dream, man.
Beautiful. And on that note, can you tell us where we can find this powerful book?
Yes, you can find it 2 different places. You can go to Amazon.com, where most people like to go, where you can get the ebook or the Kindle, or you can get a paperback there. Or you can go to my website, which is www.won'tmarry.com, where you can actually get an autographed copy. I got paperback books and I sign them over there. So if you want a signed copy, go to my website. And if you want just to get the book or the ebook, go to Amazon.com. And please, by all means, leave a review, be it positive or negative. Put your feelings all on social media and Amazon if you like. But I want people to respond about what they think about the book. And I'm going to start doing live chat next month on my website. So we'll actually be able to discuss. It's a book that not only do you buy it and enjoy it, but we talk about it later on.
All right. So we have actor, restaurateur, entrepreneur, and author Gary Anthony Sturgis, who joined us here at Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions tonight, and just really blew up our comment section tonight, and I was here for it. So I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm glad we were able to make this interview happen. I had a fabulous time, and I hope you had a good time as well.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It's always good to be on in New Orleans, so I appreciate that very much. And sorry about last week. I'm trying to open this Craybays restaurant. Y'all can check me out, www.craybays.com. See what I'm doing out here. We bringing New Orleans food to Cali.
Okay, when I come out to Cali, I'm going to Craybays then.
Cool deal.
All right. Well, thank you once again for joining us, and thank you all for joining us tonight. This is what we're talking about. We said we wanted an interactive show, an interesting show, and you gave it to us. So thank you so much for being our guest host tonight, and thank you so much for being on the show. So next week we're going to be meeting some young entrepreneurs. And then after that, we're going to be talking about branding. So there's a lot coming up. So stay here. If you have not done so already, make sure that you subscribe to Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions on YouTube so you can see the show in full HD glory. And then we can continue to make this show just grow and grow and grow. Thank you so much once again. My name is Dr. Rhonda Lawson. This is Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions, and we'll see you next week.